On today's episode, we're going to do something a little bit different. And whenever we invite you into our story, we want you to trust us. We want you to trust what we're saying to you. We want you to feel like you know us and that you are a part of us. And we know that you're familiar with our story from 12 years ago. That's probably why you listen to us. But you really don't know probably who we are. So today, we're just going to spend a few minutes letting you know exactly who we are. So stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Redeemed Marriage Podcast. This is Rusty and Heather Bryant, and we're kind of coming to you at a little different time this week. Again, no idea when you're listening to this, and people don't always listen to it on the same day, but we know that the day that it's published, a lot of people get that automatic download because you've subscribed to our podcast. Those are the days that our numbers are really, really high, and so you missed that on Monday. And we had some very, very nice messages from people that said they missed their weekly fix on Monday of Rusty and Heather and the Redeemed Marriage Podcast.
And even used a warm fuzzy in there somewhere.
Yeah, you people are just too nice. And so thank you for missing us. Life sometimes gets in the way, and we don't have any way around it. So Heather was out of town for all of last week, and she just was not able to get back when she thought she was. I thought she was going to be back on Friday, and, well, actually Thursday. Then that turned into Friday. Then that turned into Monday.
Yep.
So here we are. It's middle of the week, and we promised you. And so we want to make good on our promise, which is also why we're kind of doing what we're doing today. Just like we just said, we want to make, we told you we were going to be with you this week, and we really want you to trust us. I listened to a lot of podcasts. Heather, not as much. She listens to some, but mostly when I tell her to. But I'm more of the, she reads a lot, and I read too, but I feel like I'm always trying to learn from other marriages, but also just like the business side of podcasting and how, what are other people talking about, just to stay in touch with everything. And I was listening to, I don't even remember who it was, but I listened to probably 5 or 6 different couples that are podcasters that do marriage podcasting. And as I was listening to them, I just got to thinking, I was like I listened to what they're teaching and what they're telling marriages and married couples, and I don't really know them, and that's a little bit scary in some ways. Sure. Because what we do when we have this podcast is we invite hundreds of people, literally hundreds of people, maybe thousands of people each week, and they come basically into our story, and they listen to us, and hopefully they take what we say, and they go and apply it to their marriages and apply it to their lives. But at the end of the day, they don't really know us. Yeah. And so your face is way away from that microphone.
Oh, sorry.
You're like,
yep.
Like, nobody can hear you if you're not talking into the microphone.
I agree.
So we just thought that I thought it would be a great idea to build some more trust, because if we want you to listen to us, then you've got to trust us. And in order to trust us, you have to know us. And so I know that you guys know our story, and we're not going to tell our story, because you can go back and you can listen to that and find that all throughout our podcast. We are survivors and healers and redeemed from infidelity. So 12 years ago, Heather confessed. 12 years next month. That's crazy. Heather confessed to being unfaithful in our marriage, and it put us on this journey. And so a part of that journey was all of the stuff that we learned. We just felt like it was our opportunity to share that with others and give hope because of how far we've come. So we're not necessarily, excuse me, I am a little bit under the weather. But we're going to just take this time today so that so that you can just know a little bit more about us. Like, you've probably picked up bits and pieces, but how many kids do we have? How old are we? Where do we live? All of that kind of stuff. We just want you to know who we are so you can be like, yeah, I know these people as best as I can know them. And maybe that'll actually help you as you want to reach out to us and talk to us and communicate with us. So, yeah, all of that.
Yeah, so like when when I listen to pastors, and you say I don't listen to podcasts, I do like to listen to sermons.
You do listen to sermons,
yeah. But through that, like Matt Chandler and I, in my mind, we're best friends.
Yeah. There you go. That's right.
Because I listen to him all the time, and I feel like, I know him, right?
Well,
and that's what I think people do is they listen to us and think, oh, we know them. But we haven't given them, like, if you told, I can tell you how many kids that guy has, how many kids Matt has, but I don't know him. Like, his, just kind of where he came from and all that good stuff. So,
it's funny, though, because we have had plenty of people that have come up to us and say, I know y'all way better than you know me.
Exactly.
And that's the truth. I mean, even at events that we've spoken at and stuff, people are like, oh, man, I feel like I just know y'all so well.
Exactly.
So,
because we are open books. But there's a lot of stuff we just don't talk about because it's not really part of our story, but it's made us who we are.
Yeah.
And those are important.
Yeah. So where we're going to land on this today is we're going to tell you who we are, like, right now. Mm-hmm. Like, we want you to know just nothing major or whatever. It's just, like, because some of y'all might be thinking, well, these, they have this marriage ministry and, how do they get paid? Do they do this for a living? All that kind of stuff. And I just want people to know so they can just identify better.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you want me to start from, like, growing up?
No. We've done that.
Okay.
I'm just talking about who we are, like, right now.
So right now, well, this is going to blow everybody's mind because it's July 19th, and I started school this week. I'm a teacher. I actually taught second grade for a really long time. Well, not a really long time. I taught for 5 years. Then I taught for 8 years. And I say it broken down like that because I had a 10-year span where I stayed home with our boys. So, but now I'm back at school, and this is my second year as librarian. Does that make me sound like old and fuddy-duddy?
No, it makes you sound cool.
Okay.
Because your library is, like, really cool.
It's so fun. And it's for second and third graders.
Kids love you. Yeah.
It's for second and third graders. So, we're talking like 8 and 7, 8, 9-year-olds, right in that range. And those are the only ages I'm the librarian for. And I get to still teach because they come to classes every day. I teach 8 classes a day or 7 classes a day, and I get to see them and love on them. And so I still have the joy of teaching without all the, like, extra hard stuff, really hard stuff that comes with teaching. So I'm a librarian, and I do that full time. So that's my full-time job. What else do you want me to tell?
Well, we live in Mississippi, and we've probably shared that, I know, several times along the way. But again, we don't know what episodes you've listened to. So we live in Mississippi.
They probably can tell that by our accents.
Well, we do. We live in Mississippi.
Come on, don't be dramatic about it.
We're not really rednecks either. I mean, why you looking at me like that?
Because the song "Rednecker" came up in my mind, and I do love that song. I do love country music, but we're not really, like, I just think Mississippi sometimes gets a bad rap especially like in movies and things like that. But we love Mississippi. It's a great place. We've been here forever, and we love it.
Yeah. So we live in Mississippi. We live in a little town that's right outside the capital, and there's about 25,000 people that live here, and 24,999 of them know us, which makes our story even crazier because everyone knows our story. I mean, the school district that you work for is a really big school district. It's a great school district. It's public school. And
we're always in the top 3 in the state.
Yeah.
So, like, we have a really good school system.
But the crazy thing that just happened to us is, like, you here it's July what's the date?
19th.
And
So-
you started school already.
On Monday.
Yep, because we went to this new school system.
Mm-hmm.
And so here we are. We're not catching a break for summer. It's just in the middle. I mean, this is it. We've started back. So,
Yep.
And our children will start back. One starts back next week, and the other one goes back to college.
Yep. So we have a senior in high school.
Senior in high school,
One senior
in college.
Both boys, and one senior in college.
Yep. So our senior in college. So that makes us about 42-ish. I'm just kidding.
You're inching up on the big 5-0.
Yes, this is my last year in the 40s,
Yeah.
but I am a really cool and hip 49-year-old. And I'm probably going to just stay 49.
That's right,
forever.
Mm-hmm. And I'm 48.
Yep.
Just a few months younger.
You will be 49 in about 4 months.
Don't get me
something
there
like that.
first.
So we'll be 49
You'll
together.
always be older than me.
Well,
Always.
You're right. So that's how old we are. We got the two kids. One of them plays soccer up at Davidson College up in North Carolina. So he's 10 hours away from us. He's up above Charlotte. You've probably heard of Davidson because you've probably heard of Steph Curry. And Steph Curry.
You know what? I learned about Steph Curry this week because the people I was with love golf.
Oh,
He's
won.
an incredible golfer.
He just won that ACC tournament this weekend
he
up
got
in
a
Minnesota.
hole-in-one
Yeah.
and an eagle on like 2 holes.
Well, he won the whole tournament.
That's crazy.
So it was, it was like a
Why?
pro-am. It was like a pro-am tournament. And the reason why I know so much about that is because Nate Bargatze played in it as well.
Of course he did.
Nate is a comedian that I like to listen to.
he
He has a
didn't win.
podcast. No, he didn't
Steph
win.
did.
He came in 50-something place. He actually did really
Okay.
good. So,
All right. I see you, Nate.
yeah. But Luke plays soccer up there. He'll be a senior, so going into his senior season. And, it's been quite a journey with him. And then also Logan is our senior in high school. So this is his last year. We don't know what he's doing or where he's going.
Not yet.
He is an incredible kid. He plays soccer as well, but not sure if he's going to keep playing outside of high school or beyond high school. But he's so talented. Incredible singer, leads worship music. So does Luke, for that matter. Luke does at his church. So, hey, shout out to a great church in North Carolina
Yes.
that has taken our child 10 hours away under their wing, Multiply. Multiply Church, the Lake Norman campus.
Yep.
And Pastor Zach there has been incredible, and Luke just loves that church. So
Yep.
if you're anywhere in the North Carolina area, they have it's a multi-site church, so check them out.
Specifically Lake Norman.
Yeah, he's at the Lake Norman,
Yep.
and we
And
love
I think
those
they're
people.
fixing to get a new building.
Yes,
I
they
saw
just
that on
announced
social
that.
media.
That's right. So
Big things happening there.
yeah, so here where we are, we go to a multi-site church as well. We love our church, Pine Lake Church, and there we have a campus right here in our community. So it's great. We get to be a part of that and invest in it. We both sing on the worship team. But we are not. That's one of the things I wanted people to know. We are not paid church staff members because a lot of these marriage ministries that I listen to, one or both of them are on church staff, and that's how. They're paid to do that. But then they have a marriage ministry that's kind of on the side, and so. That's not us. We're just normal people. However,
You didn't tell them about your job.
that's whatever I was going because I was going to say. However, I am in the ministry, but I have the coolest job in the whole world. I am the executive director of a nonprofit ministry. And I started this ministry way back in 1996. I did go to seminary. I thought I was going to be in church staff work, but I ended up just feeling God calling me to reach people through sports and specifically soccer. And so my entire adult life has been running this ministry that's called Bria Soccer Ministries. So Bria is the Spanish word for shine. And that's taken from Matthew 5:16, let your light shine before men. And basically for the last 20-plus years, 27 years, we've been using the game of soccer to share the gospel with people all around the world. And so we started by taking a lot of international mission trips. That's actually why it's a Spanish name. We were in Costa Rica back in 1996 when we started, and now we actually have a branch in Costa Rica, which is really cool, and they're doing some amazing things. And then we have camps that we do. We have an inner city ministry that is probably the most effective thing that we do, where we go into the inner city and do free camps for kids. And then during the summer, which we just finished, so that's why I'm a little hoarse and probably a little under the weather, because I kind of crash when the season's over.
Yep.
But we just finished our season. It's basically a minor league team where we bring in players literally from all over the world, and they live in our community, and we invest in them, and then they invest in our community and the kids in our community through playing soccer and teaching soccer. It's an amazing discipleship opportunity. And
just for the summer.
For the summer. And then we also run our local soccer league here in the community. So lots of people that we get to be with just about every day of the week. So so that's my job, and it's fun. So you're thinking, well, how does this marriage ministry thing fit into all this? Well, we fit it in where we can fit it in.
That's right.
And, it was 12 years ago when we, the affair threatened to destroy our marriage, and it was completely out of the blue, but it was very public. And so we went on this journey of healing and reconciliation, and we, years actually of learning and healing. And then along the way, we had some people that said, "Hey, you need to begin to share your story, because it gives so much hope to so many people." And so we started doing that just a little bit on the side, speaking when we could, and people would do little write-ups on us and things like that. And we would meet with people. That was the big thing, I guess, was meeting with couples that people that would know our story and would be like, "Hey,
we have some friends."
Yeah, we have friends, or we have family members. And so we did that for a while. And then it was really about 2 years ago when this whole podcast thing came about, and we had no idea what we were doing. And
as you can tell from some of the earlier recordings.
Oh, yeah. If you go back and listen to some of those, you're like, where were these people? It's pretty comical.
Yeah.
But it has really our mess kind of has become our microphone, or our megaphone, or however you want to say it. Yeah. And our mess has become our message. And so, the bigger your mess, sometimes the louder the megaphone. And so that's kind of where we are. And, we're just kind of going at God's pace with this. We both love our jobs and what we do. And so as long as God allows us to continue in the rhythm that we're in, we're going to keep doing that. But we also know that we're about to be second honeymooners. We don't call that empty nesters. And so that's going to help us with some time. And so we really are looking forward to this next season of life, because we want to invest more time in our marriage ministry. Yeah. And so, we've already mentioned to you guys that we've had, we are in the process of kind of rebranding.
That's going to be coming up soon.
Really soon. So we have a meeting tomorrow.
Yep.
And I think by mid-August we're going to have a lot of stuff out.
Hopefully 1st of September at the very latest.
Yeah. So just be looking, and don't be surprised when you start seeing like our social media will change from the 3 Strands Marriage Ministry. It'll change to the Redeemed Marriage with new logos and a lot of stuff. But one of the things that we really want to start investing in is marriage coaching, which we already do. But we just don't advertise it a lot, but people ask us all the time. And so when they ask us, we send them something. And so, we have those that are scheduled, and we get to meet with people. Most of the time it's by Zoom, because most people are not from here.
Yep.
And, we are looking forward to having more speaking opportunities, even around the country, and doing a lot more writing. We want to do a book eventually. And so we're just, like we said, we're just kind of following God's lead there. But I know that sometimes, like when I'm listening to these people, I'm like, man, how are they getting money for this? We have none. Like there is no money involved in this right now. The great thing is that somebody made a donation to us about a year ago and said, start a nonprofit, because one day you're gonna need to be an organization that can accept donations and just have some way. So
has that been finalized yet? I know.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
sweet.
so I think everything's been filed, and we're
Okay.
just waiting for the official
word.
document from the IRS. But I think that even through that, you can still begin to operate as a nonprofit because it's all been filed. And so yeah, I mean, you guys are like, well, like, how do you pay for things? And we don't know. We just pay it out.
We just trust God with that, and He always is so faithful to provide
Yeah.
what we need when we need it.
Yeah. So we do make, make a little bit of money from marriage coaching because there is a structure to that.
Sure.
And there has to be a structure, or, there's no way we would have time to meet and talk with every single person that wants to meet and talk with us. But the ones that are serious, there is some structure to that, and you can ask us about it if you want to. It's crazy. I say that we don't make any money off of it, but there are people that have, from people around this country, have just randomly sent us money. And I mean, $50 here. And I mean, like, that's just so amazing to me, because again, you don't know us. Now you do. We just told you everything.
A little bit better.
But I just think that's so cool. And so anyway, that's just something for you to know. And, if this is a ministry that has blessed you and you're like, man, I've been looking for something, to help with. I mean, that's incredible, but we're not asking for that. We just want you to know, because I do think people probably wonder.
Sure.
There was somebody that even commented on one of our posts and said how much they appreciated us, and that we're not like most ministries that are just trying to get money out of people.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, yeah, I don't
think we've ever mentioned
I don't think we've ever mentioned that. So nobody even, she may not even, maybe we do get money out of people and she just didn't even know it. But no, that's just the truth. That's just who we are and what we do. And so, we have said all along that we would gladly help people and never take a penny if we could. But at some point, we've got to, in order to grow, we've got to be able to generate some income from that too. So all of that to say, we are very, very, very normal people. We have a 10-year-old black lab that usually you can hear snoring on the steps when we're in the middle of this. And we just, again, we're not counselors. We're not, I am full-time ministry, but we're not, full-time marriage ministry. We're just here because we just want to show you that very, very normal people can get into some really bad situations in their marriage, but God is so much bigger than that. And so that's our message. All right, what did we miss? Did we miss anything?
No, I think you covered it all. I think that it's important for people to know that we aren't coming on here every week telling about a story that we've been through that happened 12 years ago and keep pulling things from that. We both are trying every day to grow in our relationship with the Lord and to learn from Him and to grow in that, so that we constantly have something to offer people. Because if we can't offer them Jesus, we have nothing to offer. And just for that to be a constant overflow of the life that we're living now, and not just, because I think that happens a lot of times, like, 5 years ago I was a drug addict and blah 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 a long time ago, but I want to know what God's doing now.
Yeah.
And so that's pray for us as we continue to try to grow in what we're learning about marriage, about what we're learning about each other, about what we're learning about ourselves and our relationship with the Lord, and that just continues to grow so that we do have a hope and a person to offer people. Because if we just offer them ourselves, we're failing. But offering them a hope in Jesus, and that comes along with our story. So,
you mentioned us always trying to learn, and that's another thing. Like, we are not afraid to tell people about other ministries that bless us.
That's right.
Because we're learning from other people just like you guys are trying to learn from us. And so, if you ever just want to know who are some of the people that we learn from, and who do we listen to, and, what books do we read, you can reach out to us. And look, that's the other thing I wanted that people to know. When you reach out to us, whether it's through our website, which is theredeemedmarriage.com, if you reach out to us through a contact form there, it sends us an email, or if you found our email somewhere and you send us an email, or if you direct message us through Facebook, Instagram, all those things, I want you to know that when we respond, like, that's us. I mean, there's people out there that have,
people who answer,
questions for them. It is us every single time. And that's why sometimes there is a bit of a delay, because we're very normal. We have normal lives. And while we are checking all of that every day, it just sometimes takes time for us to actually sit down and put thought into our response to you.
And then the other thing is that we'll read it, and usually Rusty will read it first, and he'll say, hey, this is one you need to respond to, or this is one I can take. And it may be a couple of days before I can get to it, or before, if I say, hey, this is one you need to take. So it's we try to do it in a very, very quick way, so that you don't think we're ignoring you. But it does take a lot of thought and finding time to sit down and really dive into. I tried to answer somebody through voice something the other day, and I was like, oh, that was a disaster.
Oh, goodness. Well, the other thing that I kind of thought about too is when we respond to people, we try our best for, if it's a male that reaches out, I try to answer. If it's a female, but sometimes the female will ask a specific question of me.
Sure.
And we want you to know that it may come back as a response that we use the word we, but that's because we've tag teamed to make sure that we're both seeing everything that's being communicated.
Right, exactly.
And we just are being, boundaries. We talk about boundaries all the time on this podcast. And so we even do that in our own marriage, to where we're making sure that, we're not having deep conversations with people of the opposite sex.
That's right.
So if you get a response back from us and it says we, that's because we did it together.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Anyway, all right. Yeah, I'd forgotten. I wanted to make sure we shared that. So hey, we want you to reach out to us. So feel free. If you've got questions about marriage coaching, if you want to know how we can come and speak at your church, we want to hear from you. So reach out to us. Send us a message through our website or through, Facebook. And look, the best way that we can continue to get our message out is for you to share it. So share our social media platforms, share our podcast with your friends, with other people. And then, hey, be sure to take a minute and do that little rating on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts, because it makes our podcast ranking go way up when you do that, because it's just showing that people are actively following us and listening to us. And so, I think I told Heather that a week or so ago, you could go into Apple Podcast and type in marriage, and we were like the 20th or 20.
That's crazy.
Which, there's a lot of marriage ministries out there, a lot of marriage podcasts. Not all of them great, I can tell you that too. But we would love for you to help us out in that way, so more people can hear our story.
You know what's amazing? We get to do this again in 4 days.
Yep. So, and I'm actually gonna be. Well, we'll figure that out. So.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. We will have one for y'all on Monday.
And we're in Mississippi, and it's a gazillion degrees right now. And we are upstairs in we have a man cave playroom kind of a thing, and we have to turn the air off so that it doesn't affect. See, we're always thinking about you guys. Doesn't affect the sound. And holy cow, I'm sweating to death right now. So we are going to sign off, and we're going to go get in the air conditioning and get away from this Mississippi heat. So, hey, thank you all for listening, and we'll see you guys actually in just a few days.